Watch this video today if you want to learn how to effectively price your product or services with profit. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to jump right into it. So, one of the most foundational things you can do to build your business on solid rock, not on sticks or cards, is to know how to price with the formula. Price effectively so that you're covering all your expenses, you're covering your pay, and you're adding a profit at the end of it. Profit should not come out of your pocket. It should come out of the business fund, meaning every payment that you get, every sales transaction should have a profit attached to it. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're pricing effectively so that you can afford the growth that you need to, you can afford the level of worker or help that you require, and that you can also pay yourself something that is affordable, that will live and equal the lifestyle that you prefer. And it can all be done. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. It doesn't matter what other people are charging. Speaking of that, there's four different pricing strategies. There's competitive pricing, which is the most used. There's dynamic pricing, which is fluctuated prices depending on supply and demand. There is value-based pricing, which is this is what I believe I'm worth. I'm proving it. This is what I charge. And then there's also cost plus, which is you take all your cost and then you double it, triple it, whatever they're telling you. All of those work to a certain degree. They've been around a long time, but it's guessing your price. It's not a formulated process. Corporations use formulas, and all I did was took one corporate formula and applied it to small business owners, and I created a calculator that shows you exactly what you need to charge and how many people you need to work with. It takes all the guesswork out of pricing, and this is the way to go. So the best thing you can start with, if you're already in one of those four categories, is use competitive pricing as your launch pad. Now, the reason you don't use competitive pricing to set your price is because your competitor may or may not have the same expenses that you do. They may or may not desire the same income that you have. So you don't want to use their prices because it may or may not help your business. And that competitor may not be generating a profit in their pricing. So what you want to do is you want to have a formula that covers the price, but use competitive pricing as your launch pad. So I had a customer who was a chiropractor, and chiropractors use competitive pricing all the time. They want to charge what their competitors do. They don't believe they can charge that much more. Only a few percentage do. And what you need to do is, what if the size of their office, chiropractor A has 8 people, chiropractor B has 10. The prices are going to be different. And so if you're charging the same exact amount, you're making a lot less if you have 10 people. That's why you don't want to use competitive pricing. When you use a formula, you put all your expenses together. You figure out what that number is. You figure out your set amount of profit that you're going to add to your each sale, and you make sure that you're paying yourself the amount that you desire, because the formula will tell you this is what you have to charge if you work with this amount of people. And so if this number is, let's say it's twice as much as anybody else, and it would be really hard to sell it for that price, then what you have to do is increase the amount of people. If you can increase the amount of people, this number goes down. So there's a balance between what you charge and the amount of customers that you serve that will come up with a perfect formula for you to be able to price, to pay yourself what you're worth, to add a profit at the end of it, and have everything that you desire. Before I get any further in the next step, subscribe to my channel, like this video. I appreciate your support. I respond to all the comments. And if there's a topic that you'd like covered, just mention it down below and I'll do a video on it. The second thing is, don't set competitive pricing up unless you're going to use a formula that's going to tell you exactly what you need to charge. It doesn't matter if you have a product or a service. You have expenses. You have pay that you need to pay yourself. You have taxes that you need to pay on your income. And you should be generating a profit on each and every single sale. That is the difference maker between corporations and smaller businesses is it doesn't matter if they sell you, let's go with a rock. It doesn't matter if they sell you a rock. That rock has been factored to have all the expenses tied into it that the corporation absorbs. The profit, the CEO's pay, everything is in here, in the price of this. So they know if we're going to sell rocks, we have to charge this amount and sell this many rocks to pay for everything. That's how the formula works. So figure out how much, this is your expenses, right? How much are your expenses? How much are you getting paid? And then profit. So it's 1, 2, 3. Make sure that you're using that formula and strategy to cover your prices. I talk about pricing a lot. It's where I start with each and every client because it's that important for you to be able to grow and build your business. Without the right pricing, it's really hard to grow because you're guessing and hoping. And that's not a good strategy for having a successful business. You're guessing and hoping that what you're charging works. And sometimes it does if you have enough churn coming in, if you have enough clients coming in the revolving door. But when the business slows down and stops, that's where a formula pays its biggest dividend. Because when you have a set price and formula, you're paying for portions of every expense that you incur in every single transaction. You're not using the pricing strategy, which a lot of people use, that says, oh, this customer will pay for this program. This customer pays for this service. What happens when those customers lose? Now you have to scramble, or what usually happens is you're pulling out of your pocket, right? And paying for that until you replace that client. Imagine if you had 20 clients and that one client only pays 1/20th of that expense. Much easier to absorb, much easier to replace. That's why you want a pricing formula. So don't just take my word for it. You look at some of the testimonials on my page and you'll see that it's a game changer. It builds confidence, it builds belief, it builds your bank account, it builds your income, and it's a set profit every single time. So when your company needs a new computer, you don't reach in your pocket or pull out your charge card for it. What you do is you go into your business bank account and the business pays for it. You want your business to establish a credit? Have the business generate profit and have money in the bank that proves to the bank that you're a profitable business. And you will have to be able to establish business bank account, business credit, and have a business that is sellable. You want to sell a business? You got to have a few things. The number one thing, it must be profitable. I must be able to go in and see what it is that you're doing, see the income that you make, see the profit that the business generates, to know the money that you're asking me for, how long is it going to take for me to make that back. When you have a profitable business that uses a formulaic strategy in pricing, that builds the foundation for that type of business. If you don't want to sell it, but you want to make a bunch of money, and you want to be profitable, and you want to have this business for a while, use a formula for your pricing. It works. Thanks for watching this. Trust me on this one. Run your numbers. Use competitive pricing as your launch pad, but don't use it as your blueprint on what you're going to charge. Thank you.